So Scott, in terms of how you're seeing like the connectivity between Bitcoin, the news flow, the rest of the market, what do you make sense in the way of explaining this today?
None, actually. And there's a lot of news flow out there, right? So number one, you obviously had the El Salvador whole big news event, which, you know what? I think at the end of the day, Oliver, it's really a nothing burger, to be quite honest with you. Especially during the day when news came out that during the dip, what the president of El Salvador said they came out and they bought another 150 Bitcoins. Who cares? Right? Who cares? I will tell you, though, the rollout didn't go as smoothly as they had hoped for. Their state government-run app was not working efficiently. Google and Apple did not pick it up. And most businesses there are not really set up to accept it. McDonald's is right now, okay, but most businesses are not set up to accept it there. So, is that the cause of the big sell-off? No. However, in hindsight, and I want to tell all the viewers here, in hindsight, this is probably the perfect case of the buy the rumors, sell the news. We got over the weekend that, all the Wall Street bettors or whomever it was, the hodlers are all buying, $30 bucks worth of Bitcoin or whatever it was. You see news like that and it makes you a little suspect. Plus, we got that big run up that you and I had talked about last week, right to that 52.5, 53 number. And I think he had a lot of profit taking. So, what do I make of all of this? I don't make a lot out of the El Salvador thing. There might be something here with the dollar, because it was funny because just early this morning, I was talking to Ben Lichtenstein and we were talking about how the dollar has been so weak recently. And then we get, this rise up today, it's up 50, 60 bips, whatever it is. So, maybe that's causing a little weakness. But I think overall what we're seeing is just some profit taking here.
Scott, the buy the rumors, sell the news for Bitcoin as one of the charts here over the Bitcoin's existence that have just kind of been so well to technical understanding and price patterns. Very reliable way to think about Bitcoin is just to kind of extract all the noise and think about it as a technical thing because it's a very speculative asset. I think speculative assets obey some of those technical crowding, mentality type of trading levels very well. I've got this kind of crackpot theory, which is that basically every time Bitcoin makes a new milestone for market structure or acceptance, there seems to be major profit taking, whether it was a listing of futures in 2017 that basically perfectly marked the top, or that the Coinbase listing in the public market marked the top this time around as well. I wonder if there's something there. I mean, if Bitcoin is about selling to the next person for a higher price than you bought it, doesn't it make sense for this thing to drop every time there's like big waves of new people buying it?
Well, it's certainly not a crackpot theory. And in fact, when you just throw all the data that you want out there, absolutely. When you throw all the data out there that you want, that makes just as much sense as anything else. I mean, historically, you're spot on with that. So if you do look, though, at the technicals, and it's still very hard to look at the technicals, but if you do, it met major resistance. The 52.5 area was major resistance. Yep. And it actually, on the flash that, 5 hours ago, 4 hours ago, when it really dumped, it did go through some support at the 46 level, but now it's hovering back in there. It's coiling back around that number here. So if this number does continue to hold 46 to 47 area, you know what? This probably will be a buying opportunity for Bitcoin down the road. What's down the road? A day, a week, a month? Who really knows? But we always talk about, Oliver, and we talked about it last week too, the coiling, where volatility gets
You mentioned
really
52
low.
as a resistance point, so that worked pretty perfectly there.
It did, and whenever we see Bitcoin just kind of, meander back and forth, it sets itself up for a pretty violent move. This violent move was to the downside after a pretty grinded higher weekend, Labor Day weekend, which in the past, quite frankly, Labor Day weekend has been pretty negative for Bitcoin. This one was different. Maybe we're just a day later in the sell-off.
Hey, Scott, so with that said, as you identified that 52 as resistance point, you were looking for passage through that then to ride the wave higher. Does that mean you're just kind of waiting for clarity here? Are there levels? Do you still want to wait for it to get to 52 to get long? Is there a level here where if it breaks down further, you think about getting short, or is that bias still looking at for a dip to buy?
No, the bias actually, to me, is better to the upside now. The fact that it's coiling in here at this support, and again, it broke through support on the the massive flash crash, if you want to call it whatever it is that we saw a few hours ago. But the fact that it's coiling up here at a technical area that used to be resistance now became support, that to me gives it a little bit more, affirmation to the upside here.